here we come where I'm going to talk about what is happening. First is the sugar. And you add the water a little bit. The sugar instrument, it's really important is the timing. So when I start now, I also start my timer. Most of the time, depends on how long you wait for the reaction of this process. So for example, now today I have 15 minutes to show you the process. So the amount of sugar, the amount of water, then it's meant to be to see the reaction when it's before we end of this life. And now you can, if you want, you can come closer when you see the bubble start. I always, with the sugar instrument making, what for me is nice, you can come. It's always nice to observe the pattern and the pattern of when the sugar melting in the water. And then at the same time, so now you can see now slowly, because this is the electric heater, so then you really have a stove. So you really have this surround of the ring, which is heating up.
Do you have the fire now?
Now it's the highest. Now it's the highest for the fire. And then at the same time, when you go, because now we have little amount, when they have a lot of sugar, the sound of the boiling, and then sometimes I'm not paying attention, but I listen to the sound, you hear, okay, now it's 100 degrees. For the sugar instruments, it needs to go to around 130. So you go through the sulfur, hard roll, around hard crack stage. And in that time, the sound of the bubble is different. Now I always call them jumping. Here is some of the example of the crystallization, and without crystallization it's not perfectly. So if you touch that, the middle one is when it's really crystallized, that it's really it's hard. And the side one, when you touch it, because still more in the serum stage, so it will stay in that for it won't change. So you can touch that. You can touch the middle, and then you can touch the side. So usually what happens with this, that means it's failed. So a lot of time with sugar instruments, you need to feel this failing idea. So when you fail so many times, that means you are going in a good direction. So these are only the first step of how to have the good reaction to make everything which is hard. So that's hard. And then So I was doing this for 6 months, like every day in the morning till late afternoon. I'm just cooking and then trying to find what kind of sound I'm looking for and what sugar can do. And then maybe I thought, why eat sugar? Because in 2015, I was doing a residency in Baiwu in Qiaotou, Taiwan. And there it used to be the old rare sugar refinery. And it's closed now. But the society really linked to the sugar refinery. So when I was there, my practice usually starts with sound. And then what's the media there is sugar. So what kind of sound sugar can have. And that starts the whole experiment. At the same time, in that time, I have no idea what kind of sound sugar can have. But you can't try things you know already. That's then it's not then why you try. So now we are like around 5 minutes. So you can see now the bubble is less than the 100 degree. So now that means because from 100 to 118, it feels like it's not too far, but it takes the longest time. And after 118, it's a shorter, going to different stage. So usually for this time, you can relax a little bit. And how you can test that is just really simple with a spoon. You dip in that, and then you dip in another, and you see nothing comes out yet. That means it's in the syrup stage, so it doesn't stay in the spoon. So later when we are in a different stage, you will see how it stays in the spoon, and then you can determine what's the temperature. Okay. So usually what happens at the beginning is when I have a lot of failed one, it's like, okay, you need to think what it's going to do. So what happens is like you start eating it.
Like a pita.
Yeah. And then, because eating sometimes helps you to sometimes to distract from the failure. But after so many failure and so many sugar eating doesn't work. So I really tell myself, you have to stop eating your failure. Yeah, stop eating your failure. And since then it's I think it's around a few months. Since then, for me, the smell of the sugar and the taste of the sugar, it's become, I don't have the sense of that a little bit. Like when I see a sugar in front of me, I'm not going to eat that. Like it's suddenly it's out of my system. And then also the smell. I don't know if you smell the sugar. Not yet. Because also for me, like after a while, I also don't smell the sugar anymore. It's like when the process, I listen to the sound more instead of smell. So you can also, when it goes to a higher temperature, the sugar smell is stronger. Now what's happening is still falling, but you see a little bit trace underneath. That means it still slowly goes to the soft ball stage. But it's still not the stage we want. So during this time, in the experiment, I was several times, I also don't know where this goes, where the sound, how the sound will be. And a lot of times, like, you always feel like there is something in your head. And when you feel that, you want to find it, even you don't know what it is. So this finding process, it's so, I love it. I just love to find what is can be. So I show you one. This is one of the example of when it's in a good process and it's solid and you see the back. So when it's in the reaction later, you will see all the heat goes out and then leave all the holes in between, and it stays in the solid state because it's crystallized. And usually it's after 2 weeks, then you can hear the sound. So you can't hear that immediately because it's still humid inside. So it takes some time. Sometimes bigger plate takes 1 month or 2 months until it's reached its destined pitch, because sometimes you still change a little bit. So after 2 months, usually it stays. So with this, you can hear a little bit. So in a way, like, so it starts ringing. The whole place starts ringing. In the middle and the side also different.
And how do you make the bigger ones that it's like bigger than the...
Yeah, then you would really, then you really need the big pots, and then like sometimes also like 7 kilo of sugar. Yeah, the biggest one I made is 7 or 8 kilo of sugar. Okay, oh, no, here. Here, you see it stays. Now it's in the soft ball stage, because then you can make that as a ball. So that means it's around 120, 22, 25. Yes. And then the bubble is different. And the sound is different. It's more dense. Also the way to clean the skin, the smooth. You know, like this. I always find it so fascinating, but it can't stay. It stays for a bit, and then it's, and stays sticky. Because always in this stage, it's always everything happens so quick. So now it gets more harder, so it can break. Now I put that in, you hear it break. So that means a hard ball, and that's enough. And I just forget to bring my gloves. So now here we'll steady a little bit. Yeah. Okay, because these are little amount of sugar, so it's evolved really fast. So now we need to wait a little bit when you let it calm down. And then you will see the reaction. So this part of lets the sugar to just do like and if someone just asks how you make the big one. So for example, you can make a really big one like this, and this is around 3.5 kilo. Around 4 kilo of sugar, which you can see here. It's not the same as that one. It doesn't have the bubble. So the result of this is, can you hear that? That's the sound, is bad sound. So that's a lot of time what happened. You have results of failure. So this is a kind of not the result I'm looking for. So what happened with this is, most of the time, then, can you do me a favor? Break it. Yeah, you can try. Let's try like how to break it. So that's what happens usually. Then you break it. But why you break it? Because then you can melt that in the water, and you make another one. Yeah. So the whole process is that. So the sugar instrument, what is nice that you fail, it's okay. You can just smell that and you start over again. So there's no, you are not wasting things. You are just you recycle. So that's the issue. Okay, now for the last minutes, I'm going to see if this going to work because it's a little bit long. threshold of when it's cooked too long. So you are reaching another stage of that. And in this way, you don't see anything comes out like what we had before. Can I have this one? This one. So when you are in a good stage, this will come out like that. So a lot of time, this is what's happening. No, this one is even gone to another stage. So it's this one you can't use. You have to it's going to already caramel. So it was at least one or 2 seconds less. So this is what happened a lot of time. But if you want to see the process, how it works, you can see on my website. I have the video of the process, and you can see what exactly what's happening in this stage. So today this sugar talk, it's what I call sugar talk. It's talk about sugar, and sugar relates to how I make this work and all the frustration I have. But at the same time, it is how it is. And I'm still making it. And there's also a really good example of the sugar sound, which you can see, hear that, and listen to that sometimes on my website. So thank you for watching.
Thank you.